Hello and welcome to this week's edition of The Real Politic. Just 3 days ago, the United States ended a 9-year ban on Narendra Modi, giving signals, as many perceive, of a growing feeling that Narendra Modi was closer to the finishing line in the run-up to the 2014 elections than any other political leader in the country at this moment. Does this mean the secular versus communal debate is dead? After a 9-year ban on Modi's visa, the US took the first step to end the deadlock, a move that evoked sharp reaction from none other than the Minister for External Affairs. The move clearly had the BJP smug and satisfied. But it's not just about the US endorsement. Popularity ratings of Modi have raced past Rahul Gandhi consistently for months now. It will now be the test on whether Modi can get alliance partners to bridge the gap that will determine on who wears the crown. The question that we are asking tonight is, with the US breaking ice with Narendra Modi, is it another recognition of the fact that it is advantage Modi in the elections of 2014? And joining us this evening is senior lawyer and spokesperson of the Congress Party, Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi. Also joining us from the BJP is Vice President and spokesperson of the BJP, Smriti Irani. The first question, let's get down to the brass tacks, Dr. Singhvi. Is it true now that with 9 years of ban that the US had imposed on Narendra Modi, with that ending, there is a growing feeling even internationally now that Narendra Modi is at an advantageous position in the fight of Rahul Gandhi versus Narendra Modi? It's advantage Narendra Modi for now?
Navika, I hope you realize the very larger dimension of the question you are raising, and there are several facets to your question, the answer to which I am now giving. First and foremost, Navika, it would be pitiable if the outcome of national elections in the world's largest democracy is dependent on US recognition, validation or lack of it. Secondly, the US appears to have made just a few days ago a categorical distinction between travel to US and visa on the one hand and meeting chief ministers of Indian states for investments, commercial, economic purposes on the other hand. And they've made and maintained that distinction in an official communique from the US. Third and most important, Navika, this is according to me a complete non-issue. Mr. Modi, so long as he is not held legally guilty by a conviction, cannot be presumed legally guilty by the fact that the US does not allow him a visa. Conversely, Mr. Modi, by the fact that the US does give him a visa or the ambassador does meet him, will never be able to wash out the moral, the larger, the perceptional stigma which attaches to him as the head under whose watch 2002 occurred.
So you
And
admit,
can I
Dr.
just complete
Singhvi,
one minute, half a minute more, half a second
you,
more, just half a minute more, please.
You admit
now,
that the legal position.
Of course.
Okay, complete your point.
Absolutely. It has never been our case that Mr. Modi is legally convicted. Equally, it is never cannot be anybody's case that the fact that somebody recognizes him will wash off something which is assumed, which is perceived, which is seen as a stigma with him. No, who can say that he's been legally convicted? Now, last but not the least, it is also going to be a very sorry and sad state if every time a ambassador, whether of the European Union or the US, meets him, either the BJP tom-toms it or the Congress deprecates it. It is a completely irrelevant point. The fact that the ambassador of a government meets the chief minister of a state for investment purposes, why should it at all lead, I ask myself, to a television program? I do not want to fall in the trap of it becoming the single most or the second most or the third most important event in the political history of India and validating the electoral success of somebody, or for that matter, invalidating his potential electoral success. I think it's completely irrelevant to the discourse.
But Dr. Singhvi, when it suits the Congress party, you use this entire argument of Narendra Modi not being allowed to get a visa to the
Navika,
US as a debatable point.
This is the point.
But when it suits you, the External Affairs Minister likens 2002 to the Holocaust, something
Navika,
that even the US has completely poo-pooed.
Navika, this is the exact point you've made. Show me a single statement of mine, or for that matter of any Congress spokesperson ever, rewind and show me, who has said that the Congress supports this non-grant of visa, or that the Congress believes that the non-grant of visa is a reflection on the legitimacy of Mr. Modi. Every time it has happened, I remember, is television programs are held and you ask the question, would the fact that he is not given a visa reflect on his guilt? And the answer is, we hold Godhra to be a big blot, but it's not because of a visa or no visa. It's not because our ambassador meets or not meets. Our stand remains that Godhra cannot be wiped off so easily, but it's not a debate which has to be mixed up at all with the ambassador meeting or not meeting, or a visa being granted or not granted. This is a very, very clear, unequivocal stand which I have articulated 10 times earlier, and I am doing so again. And I would like to remind you to rewind to any actual such statement. Never. It's always been television channels calling us to programs and putting this kind of an equation.
Smriti, let me draw you into the debate. Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi clearly says that visa has been a non-issue and the Congress itself has opposed it. Do you remember a time when the Congress has opposed with the US the fact that they were not giving a visa to Narendra Modi, and do you think this is a non-issue at this point in time?
Well, the visa issue is something that the Congress has politically used, trying to politically take advantage of it by trying to belittle the Chief Minister of Gujarat publicly for their own political purposes and gains. And at that time, there was a national outcry that a constitutional head of state is being demeaned by the Congress party on an issue which is a non-issue apparently for the Congress now, given especially that Mr. Modi never applied for a visa. But today, when I hear Dr. Singhvi say that it's a non-issue, I can quite understand why he thinks it's a non-issue, given the fact that the ambassador of the US has gone and met Mr. Modi personally. I think that what is equally significant is the fact that during the meeting, good governance practices were discussed at length. The Vajpayee legacy vis-a-vis the neighborhood was also discussed. Mr. Modi expressed his concern about the Devyani Khobragade issue. Also the fact that the 2611
but Smriti,
victims... Allow me to finish my...
The point really is that is this, a endorsement of the growing feeling, not only within India, that it is advantage Modi. Is that something that the BJP believes that this US visit of the ambassador really proves?
I think Mahavika Kaman has to clearly understand that Mr. Modi's growing popularity and Mr. Modi's growing attraction towards his leadership is something that the BJP views with a lot of pride, not only nationally but also internationally. But let it be said that for us, what is of prime importance is the kind of encouraging reports we are getting from voters across India. One has to say that Mr. Modi's growing leadership and popularity also takes its legitimacy from the voters of India, and he does not need a certificate from any foreign nation or foreign representatives vis-a-vis his own popularity or his own leadership strength. But yes, at the same time, we do welcome any initiative where people want to discuss good governance practices, as
Dr.
was the
Singhvi
case
has a rebut for you. Yes, Dr. Singhvi. Ambassador
Powell, let me finish before Mr. Singhvi rebuts.
Yes, Dr. Singhvi.
Yes, a very significant factual and politically neutral point why it's an irrelevant non-issue. There has been an official communique 3 days ago by the US Department saying we have no change on visa policy qua Mr. Modi, and that you therefore have to distinguish between the visit of an American envoy for economic commercial purposes, and it would be ridiculous if a program is to be pegged on the fact that a country's envoy meets a chief minister for economic, commercial, investment purposes, which is certainly in a free country, both in USA and in India, entitled, empowered and obliged to meet if he wants to. So I think this is a factual point you must remember.
If it's non-partisan,
sorry?
The Congress, if it is non-partisan, should have even made a comment on that communique, because you yourself said that you are not against, this entire non-touchable.
That's why I said I'm making a politically neutral statement, a factual statement. So when you are again and again saying the grant of US visa, that doesn't come into the equation. That doesn't come into the equation.
Smriti, you wanted to come in, and then I have a question for Dr. Singhvi.
3 points I would like to make. Firstly, There was a time where Mr. Modi, his office were ridiculed, given the fact that the Congress party and its representatives publicly said that he has been quote unquote rejected by the US government, especially with regards to the visa issue. Dr. Singhvi says that there is a communique which says that the visa policy remains unchanged. Well, what is interesting to note is this, that Mr. Modi has not applied for a visa. Given that nobody has applied and approached for a visa, I don't very honestly, with all neutrality at my command, say I don't care whose policy is what, given that nobody has applied for a visa. This entire visa issue has been used by the Congress party to belittle a politically, constitutionally elected head of state, and today that political party has egg on its face. That is another fact that one needs to come to terms with. The only thing Dr. Singhvi and I possibly could agree on today on this show is that Narendra Modi or any political leader in my party takes their legitimacy vis-a-vis their own political stature in this country on the basis of the support of the voters of this nation.
Dr. Singhvi, the real question is, it's not about whether the US ambassador meets Narendra Modi or not. The real question, you're right, we are not looking for any bolstering coming from across the borders. But what we are saying is that in the leadership battle, will you grant that in the Rahul Gandhi versus Narendra Modi race, Narendra Modi is ahead? That is the advantage that he enjoys at this point. Would you agree with that?
First of all, let me tell you that you've clearly changed the discourse in your last question. Secondly, let me tell you that the only discourse remaining after the US clarification and after the fact that Mr. Modi has not applied for a visa, the only equation remaining can be that does the envoys meeting create some additional legitimacy for Mr. Modi. Therefore, that I say is a completely red herring. It's a non-issue. I repeat that, whether an envoy meets or not. Thirdly and most importantly,
but the leadership issue is very much alive.
1 minute. If you bring in meeting of an envoy or indeed the meeting of several prominent personalities, then the larger issue arises. The fact that Mr. Modi has won 3 elections is equally undeniable. That should have wiped out the Godhra state in the second election he won itself. Why are you mixing up the two? There is a Godhra issue. That issue can't be wished away. It can't be wished away by Mr. Modi, it can't be wished away by the nation, it can't be wished away by anybody.
You've won several elections since 1984, so why hasn't the 1984 blot gone away? But Smriti wants to come in at this point. Smriti, go on.
No, my retort was based on 1984 and specifically the interview given by Rahul Gandhi to Times Now. There is the Congress Vice President publicly declaring that yes, congressmen were involved in the 1984 riots. What more does Dr. Singhvi want? You have a certification from the Congress Vice President.
Welcome back. We were discussing the riot versus riot. Smriti there holding several questions for Dr. Singhvi. I'll allow you to rebut Smriti on that, Dr. Singhvi, before I have other questions for both Smriti and you. Yes, go on, Dr. Singhvi.
First of all, the choice of the riots topic for this program is that of Navika Kumar and Times Now and not mine. And I'm happy to debate it because that's the program. Secondly, there are vital differences between 84 and 2002 which you appear to have forgotten. In 84, unlike Mr. Modi, there is contrition, there is acceptance, there is apology, no less than the Prime Minister and the Congress President. There is not a whisper of an apology from Mr. Modi. The one time a question is asked to him on candid camera, he walks away from the interview. And the one time he tries to refer to it in a debate, he gives the very highly inapposite analogy of a puppy. That's Mr. Modi for you and that's the Congress for you. Number 2, unlike Godhra, there have been several political careers which have been lost in the Congress, which have been affected in the Congress. There have been people who have not been given the ticket, they have not been allowed to be re-elected, and the process of criminal prosecution, there are 432 people who have been criminally prosecuted and punished. A large number of other matters are going on. And if there is a new SIT, it can well be there as well. But what has happened in Godhra?
The Congress has only done when there has been public pressure. But Smriti wants to make a point. Yes, Smriti.
No, I think the Congress party has mastered the art of apology. You hike prices in this country, you make the Prime Minister apologize, sorry, we don't have a magic wand. You have corruption in 2G, CWG, and you have corruption in the coal case. All the Prime Minister and the country does shrugs its shoulder and says that sorry, we couldn't do much. You have soldiers at the border, their heads cut off. You have 26/11, Pakistan not being brought to book, people not getting justice. All the Congress does is make convenient noises. You have the 1984 rights 30 years hence, not a single congressman convicted or jailed, and you have Mr. Singhvi telling us, be happy with an apology that is given. What Mr. Modi has said, that a due process of law should convict any politician if they have been found to be rioting and if they have been found to be breaking the law. He has included himself in it and said that if you find any evidence, hang me in a public square, let an apology not suffice. Vis-a-vis the analogy of a puppy, Dr. Singhvi, it is shameful that it is you who has equated a puppy to a community in this country, not Mr. Modi. The egg is on your face, sir. It is shameful that the Congress would actually go for political benefit. Hang on, sir, I am not finished yet. The Congress for political benefit would equate a puppy to a community in this country. That is something that you have done, sir, not Mr. Modi. You did many surveys which have shown Modi's popularity growing day by day, month by month, especially on issues of good governance. Because the Congress has completely failed to address issues of good governance, it is trying to raise the secular bogey. It is not working, Dr. Singhvi, because the last voter survey that the Times Now channel projected showed Congress sliding below 100. Sir, you are awaiting one of the biggest defeats in the forthcoming Lok Sabha election, sir, and that is what, sir, you should be bothered about.
Last question to both of you. The question that I'm asking Dr. Singhvi
you're giving me no time for rebuttal.
I am coming to you, Dr. Singhvi, but the question I'm asking is that will this all ultimately boil down to the secular versus communal debate, and will you hope that there is a third front that will come out and stop the BJP in its track at a time when most quarters are looking at this as a point where Modi seems to hold the advantage? Dr. Singhvi.
It's always a holistic equation, certainly not only one. But if you think, as the BJP wishes, that in that larger equation there will be no secular and no communal issue, then the BJP, as usual, is barking up the wrong tree. This is the height of absolutely blind, starry-eyed Modi worship to suggest that before the polls start, Modi is the victor. I am reminded of 2003 end and 2004, when one gentleman, Mr. Pramod Mahajan, convinced Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee with the same starry-eyed worship and devotion that there is nothing which could stop the BJP juggernaut, and that India was shining not only, but the BJP was shining. And in 2004, as they say, the rest was history. So people who are presumptuous in politics, who give themselves self-congratulatory backslaps and say that we are already the Prime Minister and we already won the elections, the Indian electorate has a very nasty habit of teaching them a lesson. I don't think this kind of a presumptuous approach 2 months, 4 months before the election, we've been hearing the last 2 months, should be there. We approach the electorate humbly. Yes, somebody will win. That's somebody's victory. This is the last point. Assuming that there is one victor, that victor cannot possibly have an equation that electoral victory will overshadow the misdeeds of the past. This is a mistaken, the fundamental fallacy of the BJP.
Well, it did for you.
Is that you can
Dr.
do
Singhvi,
crimes,
it did for
you can do errors, you can do huge errors.
It did for you. The Prime Minister is on record. The Prime Minister is on record to say that in 2009 he was elected as the Prime Minister despite the corruption cases of 2G. So the Prime Minister thinks that electoral victory washes away the past. Smriti,
no.
would you agree with Dr. Singhvi when he says that electoral victories do not wash away the past? Isn't that an analogy that has been used by the Prime Minister himself?
The Congress party has always used the minorities in this country as a very convenient vote bank to grind their own political axe. Today, Dr. Singhvi says that secularism is a huge issue which is extremely important and dear to the Congress party, especially given that they are so inclined to serve and help the minority community in this country. Navika, in the 15-point program of the Prime Minister for the minority community, if you look at the list of states which have done well, you will see Gujarat in the top 10 of that list. And the 18 states which have done badly for the minority community, well, sir, most of them are topped by Congress-ruled states. In the Sachar Committee report, the best literacy rates for the minority community, the best savings by the minority community, the best employment opportunity for the minority community are available in Gujarat, sir, not Congress-ruled states. I will want to tell Dr. Singhvi very humbly, hang on, allow me to finish. Allow me to finish, Navika. I am very humbly submit to Dr. Singhvi, sir, we were very confident. This is not idol worship or Modi worship. This is about an organization's confidence in a leader to lead them into election. We were confident enough to project Narendra Modi as the prime ministerial candidate. You didn't have the guts to project Rahul Gandhi because you see defeat clearly written in 2014, sir. And that is my only humble request to you, sir, is remember the Jayaprakash Narayan movement. Remember the fact that this is an election about good governance. This is an election where you need to respond to charges of corruption vis-a-vis various scams and price drives. I will end this interaction by only saying, remembering Jayaprakash Narayan ji, who said to the Congress party, Singhasan khali karo, janta aati hai, Dr. Singhvi.
You know,
last 10 seconds to you, Dr. Singhvi.
Navika, first and foremost, if you rewind to 2009, there was no Mr. Modi, but there was the ever hopeful prime ministerial candidate, Mr. Advani. And if you see the rushes of 2009, exactly the same proponent projection as a presidential candidate contest was done. It was the same BJP with the same slogan. This is the presidential prime ministerial candidate. And this thing is done by the BJP every time.
That's right. We're completely out of time. But yes, everybody is waiting for the results on May 22nd or thereabouts for the elections of 2014. But Dr. Singhvi clearly says the BJP has done this before in 2009, declared its victory even before it really happened. Will that be a replay of 2009, or will Modi get closer to the finishing line? That is the big question. We will keep our eyes on that one. Next week on Real Politics, we'll have lots more of the political equations.